I'm feeling a little puffy, so I'm going to use an ice cube. Although I don't think I look puffy, which is nice. It's so cold. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm doing a cold plunge or like a cold shower. It feels like, I don't know, I feel like my neurons are just like firing like crazy. I am so thrilled that I'm thrilled about this video in general. I haven't told you what is going on. I'll do that later whenever I kind of am more put together. I'm thrilled that it is Olympic season and there is all of these, the pre-trials for the gymnasts and lead up to the Olympics. So getting to see Simone Biles do what she does, and Jordan Childs absolutely killing it with like how excited she is like for everybody to be there and encourage everybody. It's just absolutely, like I said, thrilling. So I'm about to watch day 2 of the US Championships, and I'm gonna have my coffee, and I have some beef bone broth too. I know it's such like a trending, or like was trending like a few months ago. I don't know if it helps, but I like the taste. I tried it whenever I had tooth surgery and I was put on like a liquid diet, so I drank a lot of bone broth then, and it is not half bad, and it kind of like satisfies that like savory craving. You know, sometimes you want something sweet, sometimes you want something savory, and it kind of satisfies, it hits that, you know, sweet spot for me, or savory spot. I did those rope braids to do like a no heat style, especially for like curly hair. They said rope braids work really well, but I didn't like it, so I did like almost a rope braid up here and then just a regular braid down here. I wanted to tell you that that's really exciting, like video, really exciting moment in my life, but I got invited to audition for an acting agency. It's a local agency, so that is very exciting. So I thought I would take you along with like some of the process while keeping it mostly like anonymous, you know, as far as like what agency, what their requirements are, just so, I don't know, I don't want to break any rules and find myself in trouble whenever this is the first agency that I have been asked to audition for. I did have one person who was in contact with me before the strike started, but then that just hasn't come into fruition yet. Yeah, I mean, I think that looks so much better than what it did the other day. So my plan is I get to choose whether or not I want to do 2 different scenes or one but do 2 takes of that one scene. So I want to do 2 different, and I think I'm going to try to do like a comedic and a dramatic. They gave me 70 choices to read from. So I got about halfway through that last night, and I'm gonna finish that up today and have my choices. I don't know if I'm gonna get to film anything because I also need to memorize. I really like one of the scripts. That's one from like one of my favorite writers, one of my favorite shows. So I'm really excited about that one, but it is dense. There's a huge monologue that I have to say, and then there's a huge monologue that I have to respond to as well. So, and then there's pages in addition to that. But I really want to do a quick turnaround, so I'm going to try to do it like as fast and as effective as possible, you know, be as good as possible, of course. Since I know I'm going to do that one, I might just go ahead and start memorizing it. And then I can read through the other ones. At a later time and pick one. I already have some ones that stand out to me, but I think it's good to already like go ahead and, since I know I'm gonna do that one, just go ahead and start memorizing it because it's so dense. Then I don't have to memorize 2 at the same time. I've not read it out loud yet because I know what the scene is, and I haven't even read through it. So that was one thing that one of my instructors told me. I think it was a voiceover coach, was to always have your first pass through of a script be out loud because you're always going to be saying it. So you might as well not even like put it in your head, just go ahead and put it in voice and read everything all the way through. like everything in parentheses, every like introduction. So it is 3 pages, which doesn't seem that long, but then there's 2 huge monologues, one from one character, one from the other. I can show you how I do the audio for whenever I'm doing self-tapes, just so I never have to rely on somebody else. I record the audio, I change the pitch of whoever like is reading the other lines, but it's really me, just so it doesn't distract from the viewing experience. And I try to keep the first pass through also like very neutral, like not to try to put like plan what I'm gonna do yet. I'm not even through reading it, and this is just, it's the most impactful moment in the show, but it's just beautiful and it's making me very emotional. I'm going to record the audio pretty neutral, and then I'm going to listen to that and kind of speak over it, pull up the text, read as I listen, get it in my ear, and then as I start feeling like I'm memorizing, I'll then pull out the audio for myself and just have what I'm responding to, and then go from there, memorize. My back started hurting, so I'm laying in bed. But I've been working at memorizing this for 2 hours, which I mean is pretty good. Like I'm sure I'm like doing well and making strides, right? Anytime you're memorizing, like any amount of time that you invest in it, like is progress. And also your brain, fun fact, your brain, I don't know fact, but like your brain is going to be working on the memorization whenever you step away from it as well. I mean, even in like your sleep, sometimes you're like trying to like memorize lines like in your sleep, or you're running it in your sleep. But that chunk of text is dense. I even downloaded another app that I've had before, but I haven't used it yet. That's called Memory Pie, and you can take away sections of like a letter from each word that you're trying to memorize as you go until it's all blanks, and then you just have the spaces where each like letter is. It's kind of like a reverse like hangman game. It's funny because I was like trying to sit and enjoy like my morning coffee, and I'm like, well, I'll get to other stuff like later on. Let me just enjoy my coffee first. Well, I have such a bee in my bonnet that I'm like so close to having this fully memorized that I'm like, I need to do it. I need to do it. I am excited to have lines to study. I'm pulling out my old tricks for whenever I would memorize lines. You try to remember the first line, and then you see if you're right. And then you try to do your second one, and then if you don't remember, then usually I go back up to, look at my nails. I need to glue them back on. It's a daily thing with fake nails. I usually go back like either to the top or to like a connecting line. Writers will like string thoughts together in a way where you can like remember them because it's a train of thought. And so whenever somebody is starting a new thought, I go back to the old thought to be able to remember how they get together. I don't go to the start of the new thought. I go to the end of the old thought, and then I start over again. That way I'm not just starting over at the very beginning the whole time. I feel like that's just too punishing to like be at the very end and then have to start your way over, because then you'll remember the beginning very well and you won't remember the end at all because you won't have worked the end as much as you have the very beginning. So it is my lunch break. I think I'm going to make myself some creamy spinach, and then I'm going to finish the Olympic trials, or I guess pre-Olympic trials, the US championship that I was watching yesterday. So luckily I'm not filming right now, but one of the like really hard things about doing self-tapes, and I think most casting directors that I've heard from like online, they understand this, but still, it's just very frustrating. Like, if I were to decide to film today, my neighbor has his dogs out on his balcony, and it's like, I used to do that with my dog. Like, I get it. I'm not here to, like, be annoying, and, like, I've never talked to him, but between that and the, like I've talked about in another video, the constant mowing and lawn care that is happening at this apartment complex. And also, like, my neighbors on these walls, they have like either grandkids or kids or something home for the summer, and they're constantly like bouncing balls on the walls, running through the house. And so I just really worry about that interrupting sometime whenever I need to film, but hasn't happened yet. But fingers crossed that I never have run into an issue and I don't have any problems. I'm really pulling out all the stops from whenever I was in undergrad. Like, I don't know, I feel like the speed at which I got sides in my post-grad and then career life, like I hardly ever have time to break down a script. Like, I don't know, I'm pretty good at doing it. Like, I'll write some notes in just my notebook or something like that, but hardly ever am I like putting pencil to paper. And so what I've gone through and done is earlier, I would mark like repeating words or repeating themes. Like, so sleeping and dreaming is like a big theme, so I've circled those. Moments whenever like repetition happens, like back to back to back. Places like for emphasis, places on emphasis, like I'll do like a little squiggly line whenever something is like a more emotional like sentiment. Or if I have like a theme or something of like the overarching theme of like what the point of this monologue is about, then I'll underline that. So it's just like a different demarcation system. So since then, like I did that on like one of my first pass throughs, but I also went in and I blocked off like where the thought changes and segmented them into groups. But I also, because it's such a big block of text and it's a lot of the same idea, I went through and I put what I want the levels to be for each line, and whether something has like a positive spin on it or a negative spin on like the emotionality. That way I can add in some varieties. So if you're struggling with something like a monologue or something, putting levels, and I do it like numerically, and that way you know the highest point, you know what the peak is of your monologue. And when something tapers back down. So I'm about to run through it with these numbers, and hopefully that'll apply some variance, because I feel like it's just getting a bit monotonous, and maybe applying these numbers will help break up the monologue a bit and help it flow better. I think I found the second script that I want to do, like rather than doing a drama and a comedy. I have a drama horror script that I'm doing, and then I think the other script that I want to do is a romance. So I think I could also exist in that world. What I was going to say about the romance script is that it's a lot shorter too, and it's really just a lot more back and forth dialogue. So I should be able to memorize that one pretty quickly. I just broke a nail getting my lights all set up. Literally, like, the nail snapped on my nail. So that's another one I'm gonna have to fix. Add it to the to-do list. That coffee is hitting today. I'm out of sugar, so I've just been using caramel sauce. I'm getting really nervous. Don't tell anyone, but I'm getting nervous. I'm trying to not, I've studied the lines so much that I don't want to work on them until it's time. Because sometimes I just think you need distance from it whenever you get really close to the thing, rather than just panicking over it and working them too much. So I know I have them pretty darn well, and it's just gonna be the nature of the thing that I'm probably gonna have to do the scene a few times. Naturally, as you're nervous, you're gonna make a mistake and have to start over. So through that process, you definitely learn them. The finished look, it's like me, but better. That's the vibe that I'm going for. It's just very natural. I look like myself. I just rage took a break for 10 minutes or so. I was working on it for an hour and a half, and then people would just drive by, and then I just wouldn't. It's just so hard because it's a 9-minute long scene. So I would if I didn't like the start of a scene, I would just go ahead and restart because I don't want to wait 9 minutes to restart. So it's okay, well, if I'm already not liking the direction. And then I had technical difficulties where the last line got cut off. And then I've been doing it for so long that my energy has started to dip a bit. So I just ate a little snack and took a moment. I think I'm just trying to get it as perfect as possible because it's one of the most important auditions of my life. Today is day 2 of filming, which is ridiculous. I ended up having to go to the store and get the stuff for my pool party, which was a success. It was fun. We didn't swim that much, but it was so good just to see everybody and do something different, and it was outside, so it was great. I ended up crying because usually scenes do not take me this long to film at all. So I was man, I just am feeling really unprofessional, even though I'm only feeling unprofessional within me. Nobody else is judging this work at this point, or my work conduct in my home. Basically, I was having I think I talked about this, but I was having all of these technical difficulties with this last line at the end of this long monologue. And so either I would try to speed up the monologue to get it within the space of time for that last line to hit, and then I would have to wait too long for that line, and it was ridiculous. Or on the other hand, I would take my time with it to try to fill the space, and then the line would interrupt my monologue. And I kept shifting it around, and it was I was overcompensating and swinging the pendulum so far. It was a nightmare. Oh my gosh. So I have my solution. I have a take that I like, and I had to wait a little long for the audio to hit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to edit in the audio because it's just a last line. It's not that big of a deal. And I can't keep doing a 10-minute scene over and over again. I can, but there has to be a stopping point for my sanity and my respect for myself, and feel free to judge. Get out your judgery do and judge away. It's also so hot in here with the lights that I had to, which I actually could turn off. But I got myself an ice pack because I think that was also making me feel awful yesterday, is it was getting so hot in here. Because I ran the scene for like 2 hours, then I had to go to the store. And I had to start cooking because people were gonna start arriving. So I was getting so hot that it was making me like physically ill. So I got a little ice pack wrapped in a towel, and that definitely helped me keep my cool. So I'm gonna edit this now. I'm very happy to have found this solution. Usually I'm not bad at watching myself. Like I can kind of put my ego aside or however you want to phrase it, but like it's a little hard this time. I think it's just because it's such a high pressure thing, but I've done what I can do, and I don't think, other than getting the timing at the end completely right, like I don't think I can do it any differently. So I just need to like release it, like drop it like a dog, like, and now I can move on to the next one. But this next one should be a lot easier to memorize, and the scene like isn't as hard as far as like emotionally. It's not as hard, so should be a lot better. I just hope it's good. It's so hard. I feel like I'm cosplaying as my high school self. I'm doing a more twee role, if you will. And so I went full twee with the bun, the red lipstick, some pearl earrings, and I'm feeling it. So yeah, I'm gonna try to film this second scene in the same day. I have some time before my boyfriend gets home, and I would love to be able to send both of these out today. I have about an hour and a half before my boyfriend gets home, and then I'd have to consider like another person like wanting to like be able to move around the house and stuff like that. So I'd just rather do it in a room alone. It makes more sense. Plus, I feel like I get like, I know, shy whenever somebody else is home. I haven't had to record with him in the house yet. Also, these bad boys are so bright. Like, it was almost like making me sick whenever I was trying to film it the last time, and just how many times I would go through the scene. But that's what being an actor is. Just having to put up with lights. I learned that on a modeling gig whenever I was younger, because they were using the bounce sheets to like bounce the sun into my eyes, and I was like and my mom was like, you gotta be a professional, like this is what you want to do. And I'm like, okay, trying to get my eyes open. My neighborhood kids are literally right outside that window. So I shall wait for them to skedaddle. This is what I've been worried about. I was literally recording audio earlier, and I had to cut out dog barks from this neighbor. But those are the kids from that neighbor. Double whammy. I have a huge, exciting meeting today. So this is part 2 of all of the agent talk that I've had. So whenever I was going through everything, I don't know if I mentioned, but I had a second agent reach out to me from another agency and ask for a meeting. So I sent in my audition to the other agency. That's all wrapped up. I don't know if I'll hear from them. I'm very excited about the second agency too, also a local regional agent. I'm icing my face today because I had crawfish last night and it's very high in sodium, and I tried to chug water last night with some liquid IV because I knew it was gonna make me puffy, but especially with my eyes, they just puff up really bad. I feel like I've iced my face so many times in this video, and really I hardly ever do it because I don't usually care if I'm puffy. puffy. I actually woke up early this morning. I'm trying a thing where I keep my phone like away from my bed at night, and then I'm just reading on my Kindle. So whenever I wake up in the morning, I have to get out of bed to get my phone, and ideally I wouldn't take my phone into bed to just lay there and get on it. So usually I wake up whenever my boyfriend leaves for work, because I don't know, whenever he says bye to me, it just wakes me up. So I woke up at like 8:20 this morning, and usually I'd only wake up at 9, so I'm proud of myself for that. I don't usually have time in the morning before I work. I just get up and I get on my computer like immediately, so I'm really enjoying my free time. It's like my eyeball feels cold. Back with my trusty sleep style, but I've worked really hard on like gathering a bunch of questions and research, and I've done gathering all my materials to put together. So I've done what I can. I feel like I just have to trust the process at this point, but I'm really nervous. And I realized that this isn't my first agent meeting. I had one years ago, back in like 2018, 2019. And the agent just like wasn't, they were a bit sketchy because they tried to sell me a program. That's just not what you want, is to have to buy anything to get into a monetary relationship with anybody. Until you get me work, like your services are free. That's the incentive. And hair is mostly done. I've thought about like doing like a twisty style in the front. I thought that would be cute, but we shall see. If I get too stressed out, I'll just leave it down. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed just having 40 minutes of my own time before my day started. I'm definitely gonna have to try to do that again. Maybe it's just like motivation to wake up earlier and have my own time, because that was lovely. The majority of it I spent making coffee and doing dishes, but it was lovely. And I've got the finished makeup look. I saw a TikTok where somebody did a side-by-side of her face with like using more minimal, like normal, I feel like what you would think of, like, okay, one coat of everything, like one coat of eyeshadow, one coat of foundation, concealer. And then on the other side of her face, she did more, like using 2 blush products, or even like 3. It was so many. And, you know, using more lip products, using more eyeshadow products, using 2 to 3 different brow products to give it more like definition, dynamics, more of a fade into the difference. And the difference was astounding. That side of the face looked like what my makeup usually looks like, which is sometimes maybe just a little bit muddy. And then the other one just looks so glam and vamped, like just what you would want your makeup to look like. And so I tried to use a little bit more today. I try to keep it like somewhat in my comfort zone, so I'm not trying something totally new. I tried to do a bit more concealer, and I used powder where I don't usually, things like that. But I think it looks really good. And I'm gonna see about doing the twisties in my hair, we'll see. I think you can't really tell too much, but I think they look pretty, and feeling pretty is gonna feel good. And I like, I don't know, my hair being away from my face a little bit. Overall look completed. We are done here, other than I need to get dressed. I have about an hour and a half. The meeting went really well, and I really liked the vibes of the guy I was talking to, the agent, and I think it was very straightforward and realistic, but not negative. And I think I might have found my first agent. I've been waiting years for that. I just got a really good vibe, and I think it's a positive step in the right direction, where I have been on my own doing this job for years, and not much is going to change on my end of what I'm doing, but I'm going to have somebody else on my team if I accept. Which I think I am. Which, I mean, it's like, I don't know, taking your first offer, for better or worse. It just felt good. And I don't think, like I said, it was very straightforward, so I don't think from his professionalism and all of that, like, I don't think there's going to be better out there. So, like, why keep searching? Like, he really covered all the bases. He was patient and listened to me, was eloquent. Like, he was a creative himself. He has his own hopes and dreams. And there's like some really exciting opportunities. Like, because they're regional, they're a bit more limited, but it's something. It's traction. It's forward steps. And I've needed a forward step for like 2 years. I've been on my own doing this job, and it gets pretty hamster wheel at times. Just not anything pulling through, but having somebody else on your side to give you an extra push, to advocate for you. That's what I've needed for a long time, rather than just relying on myself. This is a very, very big deal. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the work that I've put in. I am going to end this vlog here. It's been about a week with me. It's so true that you put so much effort into these other auditions. And I'm proud of the work that I did on those auditions. But I literally cried over those auditions because it just wasn't going right. And isn't that just a testament to things that are for you feel easy? When things are not right, I believe the universe, I believe God puts things in your way to make it a bit harder. And I had so many technical difficulties. I don't know. It's like the conversation that I had with you guys about like intuition and following your intuition. And I feel like this being easier is my intuition telling me that this is the path. And I don't know. It's things get weird, like just whenever you think about life that way and how things pull through. Thank you for going on this journey with me. It's been a culmination of years, and I'm very proud of myself. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you feel like it. See you in the next one.